Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second season of Voices of ASEAN. The International Business Review ASEAN Awards 2022 will be taking place later this year. It's an awards ceremony of substance, glamour, and fantastic networking that celebrates the best of businesses and government agencies throughout ASEAN. Today, I'm happy to introduce to you our adjudication panel from Brunei, YB Yanty Rahman, architect, entrepreneur, legislator, and the co-chair of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, ASEAN BAC. YB Yanty is the founder, principal, architect, and director of Bumi Arkitek in Brunei, and was also the first female president of the Institution of Surveyor, Engineer, and Architect from 2018 to 2019. Armed with a passion for education, women issues, and economic growth, as well as architecture, her achievements in the professional world saw His Majesty, the Sultan of Brunei, appointing her to be a member of Brunei Darussalam's Legislative Council from 2017 until 2021. Today, she'll be sharing with us her thoughts on the International Business Review ASEAN Awards and how it can help businesses in ASEAN, especially in Brunei. Joining me live from Brunei here is YB Yanty Rahman. Hi, YB.
Hi, how are you, Dato Beatrice? Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you. It's an honor for us to have you on the show. And thank you so much for being a member of the adjudication panel representing Brunei. And I must say, it's such a lovely backdrop that you have, and you looked absolutely stunning.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Now, YB, I have something for you. I have a question that's been going through my mind. You're a leading member of the Brunei business community. You're the principal architect and director of Bumi, a leading architectural firm in Brunei, a member of the Brunei Legislative Council, and also the chair of the Brunei ASEAN Business Advisory Council. And if all of that was not like something that a superhuman could possibly do, you're also a mother of 5. Now, you have to tell us how you manage each and every one of that with so much perfection, like the way you do.
It sounds so easy, but it's actually not. So,
of course.
And I keep on emphasizing, I think the first introduction that people should be doing to me is to introduce that I'm a mother of 5 boys. And also, I have a grandson who is 8 months old.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So in a way, I think the whole thing just covered up with whatever thing that I'm actually needing. I think it's as any mother or as any sister, like a daughter to anybody, it's a matter of how we are very passionate about driving things and how to lead things. And I must say, it's never easy for the women out there. But the thing is, if there's a drive to do it, it's going to be, I think it's more to passion.
Yes.
We're built in with multitasking.
Absolutely.
We are basically, we have the drive. You know, once you're a mother, if you're a mother, even if you're a sister, and you want to make change for the younger generation or the future generation, you have to put that in mind that we have to start changing certain things and be prepared. Especially during now. And that's the shortest that I can actually really share with you on how we can actually do it. It's more to the drive and more to the passion. And
I think that as a mother, you know, you actually do A to Z of everything, and you're very nurturing. That nurturing, totally holistic way of making everything work is, I think, the best thing we bring to our work.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, nothing is perfect. You don't expect everything to be, you know, brilliant or excellent. I think it's really learning from every mistake that you actually do.
Yes.
You know, and I have 5 sons, and it's not straightforward to actually raise beautiful, I mean, really good like sons, and you'll face a lot of challenges.
Of course, boys are difficult.
Boys are difficult. Well, difficult to again, it's their nature, their adventure, and when you actually face one by one with this, it makes you more wiser.
Yes.
and have more patience, and you don't expect that every boy is to be the same too. So the same thing as the journey in life, it's the same thing as your journey in life. Nobody says that you have to give up halfway through, or just because certain things happen. It's just a matter of, you keep on pushing yourself to make things perfection. So that's part of the journey.
Yes. But I think it's incredible, to have been able to do that, and also all the other roles that you play, and they are such important roles, and they demand a lot of you. So can just tell us a little bit more so that our audience understands you. As a chair of the Brunei ASEAN Business Advisory Council, what is the role you play, YB?
So as the chair, especially last year when Brunei actually shared it, we, in terms of the private sector and what the government is trying to deliver under the priority economic deliverables, we're trying to match things, because no matter what policy comes in and business that comes in, but representing the voice from the private sector is so much more important to make sure that the drive coming in from the MSMEs are being heard, especially by the government.
Of course.
So the journey that we actually go through is also to emphasize what is needed in the private sector. We look at it as ASEAN. We never look at it as Brunei. We look at it as ASEAN. And knowing that ASEAN is aimed to be the fourth strongest economy by 2030, there's a lot of things that we really need to look into. That's one thing drive that's coming in from the ASEAN. But just to share a little bit of journey when I actually started, when I first graduated, it was in the early 20s. I was only 20 when I graduated with my first degree. I've always had this dream about being an architect. I know what I want. So the thing is, of course, you join in the public sector. So I was with the public works department called JKR in Malaysia.
Yes, correct.
And I was with the public works department for 15 years before I start to leave. I mean, people will tell me you're crazy because you already have a stable job and you have a good position with the government, and why are you now leaping to there's more challenges that you will actually face out there. But I guess it's not about that I'm worried about. I think I'm more into facing the challenge, because I would love to face this. What is the private sector facing, and the things that I can actually do beyond what I can actually do in the public sector. And I'm glad that, whatever that I learned from the public sector, and with all the network that you actually see in the private sector. So this is the thing where people don't actually see is the huge, enormous network that you actually have outside and beyond. And so I think that's the most important thing that people need to understand. You really need to actually reach out behind it. So that's what I actually wanted to actually, I know what I actually want. And when I know that in Brunei, being a female architect is not that common, where a private sector have their own firm. So I was actually the first female to actually open their own firm as well. It's such a male-dominant construction industry.
Yeah, I can imagine, right?
So when I actually started, in a lot of giant firm and those who I even had mentor with, I'm just so glad that, having a mentor from the private sector, but at the same time, we are more or less basically a competitor at the same time. It's really good because you find it very healthy. And every time there's a competition, which I actually participated, even the fact that they know that Bumi is participating, they're a bit wary. It's like, okay, Bumi is participating in this competition, so there is another competitor out there. And it makes that confidence level higher up. And it also makes the boundary even beyond that you can ever imagine, that you can actually do so much more. And this is what I'm a strong believer in, especially when I have mentees under my wing, or having any students under my wing, to really spread this out under my firm, just to make sure that, again, the DNA that I'm trying to do under my firm is really well throughout, to actually say there is a lot more opportunities out there. So that was really the beginning of what I actually had in the private sector. But also I'm a strong believer with my idol is Zaha Hadid, actually, because I remember what the past Zaha Hadid mentioned is Zaha Hadid is a very famous female architect.
Oh, okay. In Brunei?
Yeah, so
is it international?
She's international.
Oh,
so
okay.
she passed away, unfortunately, but she's Iranian but British. And what she actually said is she breaks all these barriers. Her design becomes very criticized because it was never built until when technology starts to be able to, and her design is just so deconstructive, and it was actually built everywhere. And she's just the role model for all architects. But I remember what she actually normally quote in her book is like, you really need to have a goal right now. The goalpost might shift every now and then, but you should still have a goal. So you know where to actually hit the ball to, and find out what you want exactly, find out what you want to make change exactly. And this is really the drive that I normally see. And it's because sometimes people are so afraid to make these changes because they're just too afraid to fail. But failure is not everything, you know. So for me, it's not the end of the world. Failure is just one way to really improve yourself.
It's a stepping stone to the next level. If you don't fail, you'll never know how to win.
Oh, exactly.
Right?
You know, so you might as well face every single challenge that you can actually think of.
Yes, exactly.
And then exactly. So when I was actually appointed in 2017 by His Majesty, being the member of the Legislative Council, there's 7 of us that was actually appointed under the excellence level. So 3 of them are ladies. We never had that much ladies in the Legislative Council before, so that during that term it was like 3 ladies, and we were so proud to actually be there. And to know, but then that makes your vision or your level even differently, because you're getting closer to community. You represent the voice of the public. And you draw closer, trying to understand the grassroots levels. You know, so you go down there to listen to what are the issues that we face. So it's a different ball game. But then you see, and this changes. You try to actually emphasize and highlight it. To the Brunei government is one thing good about it is it's actually being heard. And this is where we bring and connect us being the conduit of the communication between the public sector and also the private sector. And this is the journey that I actually have gone through, and I'm sure so excited to do this in my life. Actually,
it's amazing.
To the nation.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's been good.
Such an inspiring story. And you know what's more inspiring for me is you have agreed to be a member of the Adjudication Panel of the International Business Review ASEAN Awards 2020. And I'm so honored to have you on the board. And the International Business Review ASEAN Awards celebrates the very best, just like you say, you know, it celebrates the very best of the public and private sectors in ASEAN by giving recognition to organizations and leaders that have achieved excellence in their performance in their specific fields and in their industries. So I would like to ask, I'd like you to share your opinion, YB. What is it about the IBR ASEAN Awards which convinced you to agree to be a member of the Adjudication Panel? And how do you see your immense experiences and all the roles that you have said just now? How do you see that helping you in your role as a member and helping us?
So, you know, it is really truly an honor to be part of this panel. You know, I look at the IBR platform as the open door to so much. I mean, I think opportunities since it started in 2004, if I'm not mistaken, and more than 13,000 stories that actually have been told. You know, this journey needs to be heard. And I like the fact that IBR has a DNA. You know, you actually look into the 3 main key aspects, which is like the integrity and respect, you know, the energy, enthusiasm, the kind of things that you would look at, encouragement. And lastly, IBR touches on teamwork and also inclusivity. And it's not the normal mindset where everybody have normally, like it needs to be looking at, this award is looking at just financial revenue, you know, how big the business is, you know. So this kind of DNA that IBR actually set up is something is very dear to my heart and what I actually believe in as well, because I think if you look at the current condition of businesses during the COVID time, for any companies being able to survive during the COVID time is a winner to my heart. They didn't actually reduce their workforce, and making sure that bread and butter to the employee is a winner as well. So no matter how they actually try to do this, making sure that business sustain, at the same time, the lives and livelihood of the employee or the other people that they can actually help matters so much.
Yeah.
So it touches that. It's not just about, all this business who's making it so big out there, but even to the fact that they are actually giving back to the MSMEs or providing other things, that's a winner.
Yes.
To me. So I do hope that, me being the pen can also look into a different perspective of things and can share that as well with the MSMEs in Brunei, because normally, like when it comes to awards, I think Brunei being small and our MSMEs are not that big. I mean, it's always about national level too. I think the worry is always about, they need to be a big company, or they need to actually generate revenue of this much minimum. So I think that was some sort of the mindset, and you will actually not get participation, but they have done so much greater things.
Of course.
And I guess that's the reason why I would like to advocate that to the businesses. As you say, it's not just about this, but it's just perception, that needs to change, the mindset that needs to change. And I do hope that me being in the panel will actually help to open the eyes of our businesses and participate in this kind of award.
Yes, of course, because for I'm hoping for the Brunei companies, they'll be able to see that this is an opportunity to showcase who we are and what we are capable of doing beyond our country borders to the rest of ASEAN. It's an opportunity. And the kind of publicity platform we build around the award recipients would definitely make them be able to talk about what's special to them and what makes them unique. So I'm looking forward to working with you and getting Brunei companies in to be able
to. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So even the ASEAN Business Awards last year, we actually had to create one Brunei Special Awards, and this is looking into social enterprise.
Yeah.
And it makes it more valuable to those companies who is very that work very closely with communities. And we've got winners that work with they call themselves the community, the Brunei community, and also the Big Begawan. That those are the young ones, and I would actually say younger generation that actually won these awards for their contribution. And again, by having this kind of awards that actually look at certain aspects of how they actually run their business and their contribution will actually help others too. But not just that, actually, is also to give hope to others, because they will learn from all these businesses. And likely like what you said, Dato, is the network. It's a whole big network that you're actually trying to open to them.
Yes, absolutely. You got it spot on. Thank you, YB. When people talk about business in Brunei, no doubt one of the first things that come to their mind is oil and gas. I think you're used to that. But how can the IBR ASEAN Awards help shine the spotlight on other businesses in Brunei besides oil and gas?
Yeah, it's always really. I know when people talk about Brunei, the first thing that comes in their head is oil and gas.
Yeah.
Yes. But there's a lot of ways now that our Brunei government is trying to branch out into different clusters. They're looking at, of course, ICT on the creative industries. They're also now looking into maritime. Oil and gas is just one of them, but construction is also one of them as well. So there's different clusters, or call it industries, will actually be an added value in different sectors. And it's really important to actually look at the fact that, yes, previously the Brunei government is really looking into the oil and gas, but it has changed. In 2015 onwards till 2019, our report, our Brunei's economic blueprint have indicated the numbers of MSMEs outside the oil and gas has increased by 3.4%. So that's a very good indication of our locals really doing, putting much more effort in terms of that. But also the government is at the same time increase the accessibility in terms of finance and market. Now, government can only do that much, right? So we need this platform like yours, like IBR, like other platforms to actually open up the horizon, to give opportunities for them to actually to look beyond Brunei, because it's always the case where it's always looking into the national level, but in fact the market is out there, and ASEAN as one is actually very strong as one community, one nation, you know, one voice, one vision to actually look into this. And it's a whole big market for ASEAN out there. So I do hope that having this network with ABR and expanding their horizon to see how they can actually be connected to the rest is really an eye-opener for our MSMEs, inshallah.
Inshallah. What would you like to say to business owners and leaders in ASEAN, especially in Brunei, who might be tuning in, to encourage them to participate in the IBR ASEAN Awards 2022, YB? I went back in time.
Now, you know, so the good thing about it is, I think that there's a few things I wanted to emphasize. I think those who have participated but didn't win, it doesn't mean that, you know, you shouldn't be participating again, because, you know, whether you win or whether you lose, it doesn't really matter. I think joining in as a participation is really more on getting the network out there.
Absolutely.
And being known to others. Right. The other one is really the existing who have won, say for instance, they participated before, and they've won before. What I would actually like to request is to become a mentor. You know, the company can actually provide mentorship to the smaller companies who can actually learn a lot of things from them. You know, as part of Brunei Legacy Project during our ASEAN Chairmanship last year, and it's still ongoing, our legacy project is called HIRED, which is harnessing impact with resilient employability digital. I mean, it's rightly so. We call it HIRED, H-I-R-E-D. People are looking for jobs here and there. But the thing is, it's a dual kind of thing. One is to require providing digital training so they can upskill themselves, knowing that in ASEAN we have such a big skill gaps.
Of course.
You know, and the other one is to provide mentorship. And this mentorship is really important because it's the faster way to learn and to avoid mistakes. And you're being guided by the expertise who has actually gone through that journey before. So my hope for those business owners who has actually participated, or even they're already out there, you know, so to provide that mentorship that can actually help the smaller businesses. Again, we talk about that, especially during the time.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so we do
like, let's say you have a company.
No worries.
Let's say a company who's hearing you right now, and they're like, "That's a good idea. I like to mentor the younger ones." How do they start? Where do they go to?
Okay, so currently we are collecting those who have won, right, under the ASEAN Business Awards, right? So we do have that in terms of like alumni for previously business awards. Awardees, and we are gathering those names first. So it's a very early stage, but what we're trying to do is to actually get this and what are the areas that they are very strong at. And if businesses is actually interested, especially the startups who actually wanted to work very closely together, and this is where we can actually connect. But we are actually working on it as a platform, trying to provide a platform where they can actually go in and find the mentor. So this is where we're going to match them in together. So it's still in the working because it was only launched last year on how we develop this. But we are not just limiting to this. In fact, we are actually, there's a lot of existing platform that provides a lot of digital training, and we would like to actually work very closely with any platform, because there shouldn't be any exclusivity. This is so inclusive to anybody. What's important is getting companies who would want to provide that mentorship. And there's a lot of interested joint business councils who's very keen to actually participate, not just in ASEAN, but also beyond ASEAN. So I'm actually glad. Yeah. So we're working on it, but we will actually update people also in our ASEAN Business Advisory Council website once it's actually ready. And this is a really good platform for people to actually come in.
It's excellent. Is His Majesty very supportive of all the endeavors that you're personally taking on through your legislative avenues and through the ASEAN Business Advisory Council? Because he's a leading force, a leading driving force in Brunei.
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. I think when it comes to employment, when it comes to skills, anything that would actually help our nation, not just that. I mean, we're looking at beyond, because I was in ASEAN, the fact that, from the World Bank, it would say 59% of our youth that is born in ASEAN will be lack of skills, right? So there are other factors that derive this lackness. I mean, it's not just about education, but we still need to actually get mentors from those expertise beyond ASEAN. And we want to actually work together, because, like, for us to be able, among the policy that looks into it, is skills is one of the top 5 priorities that we have to look into in ASEAN itself. And in Brunei, knowing that among the ASEAN state members countries, we do have the highest percentage level of unemployment. But even though in terms of figures, it's not that many, because our population is actually quite small. But in terms of percentage, of course, it's reflected as big. But our government is really looking into the things that is required by the industry, whether it's in Brunei or beyond that. And I'm one of the co-chairs for the Manpower Industry Steering Committee for Construction. And we're now tweaking, changing syllabus, making sure that it is meeting this gap that we are actually having, supply and also the demand. And we work very closely, and especially with His Majesty's government on this. So I feel very, very honored, because to be able to see this on a bigger picture, and the network that I actually have in ASEAN, that through you're one of my network as well, to actually be able to explore this and tell this is what we need. Would actually be beneficial to not just Brunei, but it's throughout. And that's one of those things why I'm very dedicated to this. Again, I'm not looking at my generation. It's the next generation that I'm very, very, we have to really think of. They are so special, because these are the generation that would actually have picked up so many things, and they can move so many things fast. We just have to be very transparent to how we foresee things. Coming in the future, and are we ready? So that's my hope. I know there's a lot of things to swallow, doing it one time at a time. So yes,
I think you're doing a great job, and as one of your network, I offer my help in any way I can, in all your aspirations, whatever we can do to help. Beyond this, we are here for you, because it's an amazing vision that you have, and it's a vision for Brunei. And you were telling earlier, yesterday when I spoke to you, it's a country of 400,000 people. Am I right? Am I getting the figures right? But you have such big vision. So you look at yourself as an extrapolation of ASEAN, So it's so important that businesses in Brunei actually position themselves as a regional business and not just as a singular country business. So, and I think you're taking that vision really well to the next stage, and we are here to help you. So before
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, go ahead. You were saying something.
Okay. So the thing about it is, sometimes when we look at Brunei as, a smaller nation, it will actually be to a disadvantage, but it's not. The strength of our nation, our population, in terms of education, are highly educated. I think it's just putting the fact that we must believe, for the sake of Brunei, we must believe just because we're a smaller nation, it doesn't mean that we can't actually do anything.
No,
and this is the
Singapore.
same thing exactly. Look at Singapore, how much they actually drive the human resource.
Exactly.
And I mean, the same thing, we always look at Singapore as our exemplary, being the country as that, but of course their population is about 5 million. But the thing is the same thing, the drive to be, having no resources, natural resources, but they only have human resources.
Exactly.
And how much they actually have grown that and put confidence to their people. So from even from my side, when I actually chaired the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and being a female, the only female chair among the ASEAN state members, and also the youngest among all, to lead the whole council team, is probably nerve-wracking. It's like they have more experience than I do, but I guess the passion that we have by all the councils, right, all the chair councils and all the 30 councils inside the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, they have exactly the same passion as I do. And I respect them so much because they really support the initiative during our chairmanship. And the drive is just so absolutely going up. And we didn't even stop, knowing that Brunei also faced the second wave during that time. It doesn't stop us, or it doesn't slow down even. So we had that sort of, we have to build it in our mind. COVID will never end, right? There will be another mutation. There will be another variant that's actually coming in. But no matter what, I think we have to prepare ourselves in terms of resilience, So yes, we have to make sure that the safety of our people is actually there, but we also need to make sure businesses don't die too. Our economy don't die too.
Yes,
exactly. So we just have to make sure in our mind that during our recovery time, we also have to make sure we prepare for anything. So that's the mindset that we have to build, even for the younger generation, to make sure that they're more resilient to what's coming in the future.
And I think what you said, everything can be changed if you believe in it. And I think the most important thing is cohesively to get everyone, all Bruneians, to believe that we are the best.
Oh, yeah. I think, you can dream beyond that, even though you will not be able to achieve it during that time. But let's just dream.
Of course.
Right?
You may not achieve it in your lifetime, but you'll achieve it in their lifetime if we start the whole trend of believing in the end objective.
Absolutely. And it's the word that we actually need to give them is hope. They might see great things now, like, what's my future? We have COVID, we can't even do, we do online education. But you see, you have to give them that vision of belief, and there's a future out there. And just basically, there's a lot. And it's not easy to actually give that belief,
So if I could ask you then, YB, if you had a magic wand, and you could just make 3 things happen for Brunei in the next 5 years, what would it be? Anything, whether it's the social aspect, economic aspect, anything. What would you do?
The first thing I would actually touch is on building up the human capacity. That is so important. And education needs to change. Because it's everywhere, every people talk about it, but how fast can you move is another thing. So that would probably be one of those things that I would actually touch in the capacity, and also looking into the education. The second one is to really change the mindset of our people, that it's not just Brunei. We have to look into beyond that. The door is always open. It might be difficult. There will always be challenges, but nobody says that you can't do it. So just put hope and say you can go beyond that. I think that the third one that we need to actually really look into is, I guess, the younger generation need, because they're quite complex. I think we are very Rahman. I would say we're blessed. In Brunei, we have been blessed with oil and gas. And when you are actually being blessed with oil and gas, and your generation is just, alhamdulillah, your government has given free education, free medical, everything has been given, right? But it's also time to ask the government back, what can we do?
Yes.
Especially, so that sort of mindset needs to change, because we do need to now get the younger generation to be less complacent, need to work very hard, and to see life beyond Brunei, or build up Brunei. I mean, I would like to say build up Brunei, be more confident, and go beyond that.
Build Brunei bigger, BBB. Yeah, I've got a tagline for you, build Brunei bigger. So thank you so much.
It might not be it might not be during my generation.
I'm sure you can do it
during my children's generation.
I'm sure we can. Well, thank you so much, YB.
Okay.
It was a pleasure having you and hearing your thoughts and your vision. And I would say you're an amazing person and a true inspiration. I'm really honored to have you with us, and more honored that you're on our adjudication panel, and looking forward to do a lot more in future. So follow us
so
on
much for having me.
Thank you. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and our website, www.voiceofasean.com, to keep up to date with our upcoming shows. Voice of ASEAN thanks you for your time, and we'll be uploading a recorded version of this dialogue in our portal for those who missed it. So thank you, YB.
Thank you so much.
Talk to
Thank
you
you so
soon.
much.
Bye.
And take care.